In Charleston, round the end of June, the sun be up earlier than usual. From the balcony of our third-floor suite, I could see the Atlantic shimmerin' like silver in the sunlight. I could hear the waves crashin', a rhythm on the shore, and smell that good fried whiting from the stands down the road. Tourist season was kickin' off, and folks was floodin' in. And our hotel, the Indigo Pearl, she was already shinin' 'fore the sun even thought 'bout risin'. My name is Zora, and I'm 38 years old. My husband, that's Demetrius Vance, but ain't nobody call him nothin' but Meech. He 4 years older than me. For 9 years, we been runnin' the Indigo Pearl together on Meeting Street, just a few minutes from the water. When people hear hotel owner, a lot of 'em picture some life of luxury, sippin' coffee in the mornin' and countin' cash in the afternoon. But only us folks inside the game know that behind that gleamin' sign is sleepless nights, loans comin' due, and dozens of employees waitin' for they paychecks on time. A few years back, this place was just some old, beat-down boardin' house, paint peelin' off the walls and pipes that barely worked. We took out a loan from the bank, borrowed from folks we knew, and scraped together $1.5 million to buy it and fix it up. The day we signed that contract, my hands was shakin' so bad I could hardly hold the pen. Meech whispered to me, "You keep shakin' like that. These folks gon' think we 'bout to back out." I shot him a look. I hadn't changed my mind. I was just wonderin' where we was gonna get the money to pay the interest next month. He laughed, but his smile was tight. "Well, we'll work. Long as we ain't starvin' to death, we can still work." In the first few months, we had so few guests that sometimes, in a whole row of rooms, only 2 windows was lit up. In the mornin', I was at the front desk. At night, I was going over the books. And at midnight, I was with the staff foldin' towels. Meech was the one out there sourcin' fresh seafood, fixin' the air conditioners, and mendin' broken pipes. Sometimes, he wouldn't come home till the early hours. There was months when the interest and payroll came due all at once, and what was left in our bank account wasn't more than $500. We was eatin' eggs and grits for damn near half the month, but our people's salaries had to be paid in full and on time. Meech said, "It's aight for us to struggle sometimes, but our employees, they worked a whole month. They got parents and children waitin' for 'em at home." I'll never forget him sayin' that. Maybe that's why the staff stayed with the Indigo Pearl. Some of our first folks are still with us today, includin' Chef Antoine, the head chef, and Amani at the front desk. The division of labor between me and my husband was clear. I handled the money, HR, the rooms, and service quality. Meech was in charge of transportation, supplies, repairs, and outside relations. If there was a big problem, we chopped it up. If there was a mistake, we both took the heat. I also set a rule from the jump. Family who eat here can get a discount, or even eat for free if it's real necessary. But everything gotta be written down in the books. One time, Chef Antoine asked me, "You even write down your own family, ma'am?" I told him, "I write it down to know how much we've given, not to collect a debt. If you don't write it down, when something come up short, the employees gonna be the ones to get blamed. A plate of fish don't just swim from the ocean to the kitchen. A clean room don't just change its own sheets. Behind every meal and every towel is the sweat of the cook, the server, the housekeeper, and the delivery man. Love might be endless, but them account books can't be blind." The person I wanted to give the biggest favor to was my mother-in-law, Mama Lena Vance. She was 67 then, living alone in a house less than 2 miles from the hotel. My father-in-law passed away when Meech was just 11. She raised 2 kids on her own by sellin' fish sandwiches in the mornin' and taking whatever odd job she could find in the afternoon. Meech often said his childhood was measured by the sound of his mother choppin' ingredients for her sandwiches from 3 in the mornin'. When we bought the old boardin' house, Mama Lena gave us all her savings, a loan of $20,000. She put the bag of money on the table and said, "I ain't got much, but take this. When y'all make it, you can pay me back. Don't you two be fightin' over a debt." 2 years later, we paid her back in full. She even signed a note saying she got the payment because I wanted everything to be clear. But for Meech, that $20,000 wasn't just a loan. It was his mother's whole life of sacrifice, so he always felt his debt of gratitude was bigger than the money. Her medicine, lights, water, and other monthly bills was all covered by us. To me, it was only natural for children to help their aging parents if they had the means. Love flows downward. Parents spend their whole lives caring for their children. In their old age, all they ask is to be remembered. That mornin', as I was checking the buffet, Amani came up and whispered, "Miss Zora, Mama Lena is here." I turned and saw Mama standing at the restaurant entrance, wearing a simple purple blouse and holding a tote bag. When she saw me, she smiled. "You busy, baby? I'm just gonna eat a little something, then head home. I walked over and took the bag from her hand. What you feel like eatin', Mama? Our she crab soup is delicious today. All right, give me a bowl. Just a little broth, but lots of crab. I smiled. She always said just a little, but then she'd ask for more. She'd make an excuse. Y'all's cookin' is just so good, it's not that I'm greedy. Chef Antoine called out from the kitchen. Oh, Mama Lena, we'd be sad if you weren't greedy. We need someone to praise our cookin' to keep us goin'. Mama laughed happily, and I brought her a glass of iced sweet tea myself. In that moment, I felt a peace in my heart. It was my dream that after years of struggle, Mama would sit in her children's restaurant, eating a hot meal without looking at the prices. Mama had almost finished her soup when she looked over at another table, where a group of tourists was eating steamed blue crabs, fried grouper, and shrimp and grits. She watched him for a moment and asked, Zora, what they eatin'? It looks so good. Steamed blue crabs with Old Bay, fried grouper, and shrimp and grits with collard greens, Mama. She nodded. Tomorrow, I'm bringing my friends from my church group. Prepare those dishes for us, you hear? I was a little taken aback, but still smiled. Of course, Mama. Just let me know how many there'll be so I can prepare. She put down her silverware, and her voice was soft. Just 3 or 4, I think. My friends heard my son has a hotel, but they've never been. I want to bring 'em so they can see it. In that moment, I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought she wanted to treat her friends and enjoy her later years. I even told Imani to reserve a table for him by the window for the next day. I didn't know that small agreement would be the start of a huge habit, and from a simple lunch, the line between family and business would slowly start to blur. The next day, I was at the restaurant for 6 in the morning. During the summer in Charleston, guests head to the beach early, so our buffet always be busy. As I was checking the food, I reminded Imani to reserve the table by the window for Mama. Round 11, Mama Lena arrived with 3 other women from her community league. As soon as they entered the hotel lobby, they was impressed. One of them looked around and said, You sure know how to keep a secret, Lena. Your son's business is this big, and you're only just now bringing us. Mama smiled. Oh, please. Meech built this, but Zora's the one who runs things inside. I went over to greet him. Good morning, ladies. Mama let me know y'all was comin', so I've already reserved a table for you. One of the women took my hand. So pretty, and so talented. You're a lucky woman, Lena. Mama immediately shot back. Of course, I know how to raise a son. When a family has discipline, the daughter-in-law will follow. The comment was meant as a joke, but it stung a little. In front of Mama's guests, I didn't want to be a killjoy, so I just smiled. Yes, ma'am, Mama is a strict teacher. They all laughed. Mama pulled out a chair and said, Yesterday, I saw them guests eatin' all that delicious food. Cook the same for us, baby, I asked. For the 4 of you, I'll make just the right amount. We'll have steamed blue crabs, fried grouper, shrimp and grits, and then we'll add some she crab soup and collard greens. That should be enough. Mama nodded. Yes, go on. Make it good now. It's my friend's first time here. I went into the kitchen and told Chef Antoine. He looked at the order slip. How this being paid for, ma'am? Just make it enough, not too much. Mama and her guests are on me today. In less than half an hour, the dishes was served one after another. As Mama placed a crab on her friend's plate, she told stories about her son's hotel. During the summer, the rooms are full, and groups have to book a month in advance. One of the women was impressed. In that case, you must be making a lot of money every month. Mama waved her hand. In business, there are good months and slow months, but it's enough to live on. I told him, just do things the right way, and the money will come. I was standing nearby and chuckled to myself. Mama rarely asked if the hotel was making a profit or losing money, but to hear her talk, you'd think she was still part of our decision-making. Still, seeing her so happy, I thought it wasn't so bad for an old woman to be proud of her children. Their meal lasted almost 2 hours. When they stood up, one of the women took out her wallet. Let's split the bill. It's a big deal that Lena invited us. Mama immediately waved her hand away. We're in my son's place, and you're gonna pull out your wallet? Put that away. It's my treat today. The woman was still embarrassed. But Lena, a business has costs. Mama laughed loudly. It's just a few dishes. You act like you're buying the whole hotel. We're family here. We don't count pennies. I was standing a few steps away. She didn't ask if I agreed to treat him. She made the decision herself in front of everyone, so I couldn't refuse. I walked over. Please. Don't worry about it, ma'am. It's on me. I'm so happy you could visit for the first time. They thanked me profusely. Mama looked at me with satisfaction in her eyes. After they left, Imani brought the order slip to my office. Miss Zora, the total for Mama Lena's table is $450. Should I put it under family entertainment expense? I shook my head. I'll pay for that myself. Don't include it in the hotel's expenses. Imani hesitated. But ma'am, she's Mr. Meech's mother. Even so, especially since it's family, things should be clearer. If I'm the one who invited them, I'm the one who pays. I wasn't keeping a tally on Mama. I was just afraid that if the free things started piling up, nobody would know where to draw the line. 2 days later, around 3 in the afternoon, Mama came again. This time, she was with 5 other people, and she hadn't called ahead. Since the restaurant wasn't crowded, I was still able to find a table for 'em. As soon as Mama sat down, she called out, "Imani, bring us 6 glasses of iced tea and some of that good red velvet cake." Imani politely asked, "What would you like, Mama Lena? Slices of cake or the mini cupcakes?" Mama shot back, "Both. So they can have whatever they want." I was on the second floor inspecting the rooms. I heard on the walkie-talkie that Mama had arrived. When I came down, there was already coffee, 2 platters of cake, and a fruit platter on their table. Mama introduced me. "This is my daughter-in-law. She takes care of everything inside here." One of her friends smiled. "If your daughter-in-law is this capable, then you can just sit back and enjoy yourself." Mama's reply was jokin', but with a hint of truth. I raised my son to be like this. If I don't enjoy it now, who will? I just gave a small smile. "Go on, Mama, just relax. I have some things to do." Over an hour later, Mama's group stood up. As usual, Imani printed a receipt and brought it to him. When Mama saw it, she pushed it back. "Give that to Zora. We're family. I ain't a customer." Imani was flustered. "Yes, Mama Lena. I'm just following procedure." Mama frowned. "What procedure? You should know how to read people. I was here before this hotel was even fixed up. And now, for a few cups of tea, you're giving me a receipt?" I walked over and took the bill folder. "It's all right, Mama. I'll take care of it." Mama turned to her friends. "She's just a new employee, so she don't know yet. It's good that they follow the rules." I didn't correct her that Imani been working here for over 4 years. I just paid the bill of over $120 and walked them out. When I came back, Chef Antoine was standing at the kitchen entrance. He waited for everyone to leave, 'fore speaking. "Miss Zora, it's fine if family eats here, but if it's frequent, it'd be better to have a policy. In the kitchen, we don't know which table is paying and which one is. Free. It might mess up our inventory." I asked. "Is it a lot, Chef?" "It ain't about the money, ma'am, but about the way it's used. Today, almost half the cake that was sliced was just thrown away. The fruit, too, they just tasted it. When people think it's free, it's easy to order too much." What Chef Antoine said hit home, but I still tried to calm myself. Maybe Mama was just happy being with her friends. "Just write everything in the book, Chef. Whatever is for Mama, let me know." Chef Antoine nodded. "Yes, ma'am. I'm just letting you know." It was late when Meech got home, still covered in dust from the storeroom. I was planning to tell him, but when I saw how tired he was, I didn't go through with it. I thought a few cups of tea and a couple of lunches wasn't enough reason for us to fight. As they say, a parent's love for a child is like an ocean that can't be measured. Mama endured hunger and hardship to raise Meech. Now that we was a little better off, her inviting a few friends should be accommodated. But on Saturday morning, just as I got to the front desk, the phone rang. It was Mama's voice. "Baby, book a table for 8 for lunch today. Prepare them big shrimp, steamed fish, and a whole fried chicken. And remember, a good table, all my guests are foodies." I looked at the restaurant, almost half the tables was already occupied. "Is there a special occasion, Mama?" She answered without any emotion. "Not really. Just some friends getting together. We own the restaurant, we're not going to eat somewhere else, are we?" For the first time, I noticed that in her tone, it was no longer a request. It was a decision that had already been made, and I was just the one who had to arrange things to make it happen. Saturday noon, the restaurant at the Indigo Pearl was packed. I was standing at the front desk, looking at the reservation list, when I saw Mama walk in, followed by 8 people, men and women. As soon as she saw me, she called out, "Zora, where's our table?" I came out to greet him. "Yes, Mama, table 6 by the window is reserved for you. But since it's very crowded today, please just follow the order queue, okay?" Her brow furrowed slightly. "I know. Just do your job." I still smiled and led him to their table. But before I could even hand him the menu, Mama stood up and went straight to the fresh seafood display near the kitchen entrance. She pointed at the ice bed. "Get me your biggest snow crab legs, a whole red snapper, and add some shrimp. Hurry up, my friends ain't used to waitin'." The female staff assigned to seafood looked at me. Before I could speak, Chef Antoine came out of the kitchen. He spoke politely. "Oh, Mama Lena, that red snapper has been reserved by table 12 since this mornin'. I'll just pick another fish for you of the same quality." Mama turned around. "Which guest is more important than me?" Chef Antoine was a bit taken aback. "It ain't like that, ma'am. We take orders on a first-come, first-served basis. If a customer has already reserved it, the kitchen has to honor it." Mama crossed her arms. "I'm the mother of the hotel owner, and I can't even pick one fish?" A man nearby laughed. "Let it go. Lena, it's just a fish, they all taste the same." But Mama wouldn't budge. "I want this exact fish. It's my friend's first time here. The food has to be right." I came over and whispered, "Mama, that's already reserved. I'll pick a fresher one for you. It's almost the same size." She looked at me, her eyes unhappy. "Are you the owner, or am I the owner's mother?" Why it seemed like no one is listening to me. My chest tightened, but I kept my voice calm. "I'm the one managing things here. If we've already accepted an order, we have to fulfill it. Please have some consideration for the staff. Let's not put them in the middle." She smiled bitterly. "Wow. Now you're teaching me about rules." In the end, she was forced to choose another fish. Less than 10 minutes later, Imani ran over to say that Mama's table had added 3 more dishes and wanted their food to be cooked first. I looked at the order slip. Besides the snow crab and snapper, there was also fried calamari, steak bites, baked mac and cheese, and a huge low-country seafood boil. For 8 people, that was way too much food. I asked Imani, who said to prioritize it. Mama Lena said her guests should be served first. I took a deep breath. "Forward it to the kitchen in the correct order. If she asks, tell her I approved it." The kitchen was heating up, full of the sound of pans and orders being shouted. Chef Antoine had to juggle everything, 'cause Mama kept changing her mind. A family from Atlanta had been waiting for over 30 minutes. The old man was starting to get impatient. He called me over. "Miss, we were the first to order the steamed fish. Why does that other table that just arrived already have food?" I looked at Mama's table. They already had 2 appetizers 'cause she kept rushing the staff. I bowed. "I'm so sorry, sir. There was a little mix-up in the kitchen. I'll check on it right away and give you a complimentary dessert." The customer didn't raise his voice, but what he said made me feel ashamed. "We understand if it's busy, as long as the service is fair to everyone." I went back to the kitchen and told him to prioritize the earlier orders. Then, I personally brought the dessert to them and apologized again. Just then, I heard Mama's voice from table 6. "Imani, what is this? The service is so slow. How many times have I told you?" Imani, who was carrying a tray of soup, stopped in her tracks. "Yes. Mama Lena, it's being cooked now." Mama frowned. "Always being cooked. My guests have been sitting here for almost an hour. If this is the service, all the customers will run away." Imani's face turned red. A few tables around us looked over. I walked up. "Mama, Imani is just taking orders. If you have a complaint, please direct it to me." She slammed down her silverware. "You're defending your employee in front of my friends? I ain't taking nobody's side, I'm just statin' what's right." She laughed coldly. "To other people, you're so nice. But to your mother-in-law, you bring nothing but rules. I raised Meech for decades, and now, just to eat at his restaurant, I have to look at my daughter-in-law's face." One of her friends intervened. "Let it go, Lena. Zora is busy. Don't make it a big deal." I tried to speak softly. "Mama, let's step outside for a moment." In the end, she stood up and followed me to the hallway near the kitchen. I said, "Whatever you want to eat, I'll prepare it. But you can't take someone else's order, force the kitchen to prioritize you, and yell at an employee in the middle of the restaurant." She stared at me. "You afraid of losing a customer, or you afraid of people respecting me?" "I'm afraid of doing wrong by the people who are paying and doing wrong by my employees." She laughed. "So, in your eyes, I'm lower than outsiders?" Just then, Meech walked in from the back. He saw the 2 of us tensed up. "What's going on?" Mama immediately turned to him. "Ask your wife. I brought some friends, but she's treating me like a beggar." I recounted the story about the fish, the order sequence, and her shouting at Imani. But I was only halfway through when Meech rubbed his forehead. "Let it go. It's crowded today. Just let Mama have her way." I looked at him. He hadn't even heard the whole story. He whispered, "Mama has friends here. We'll talk about it tonight. When Mama heard that, she returned to the table like someone who had just won a case. I was left standing in the middle of the hallway, with something inside me feeling lost. The total bill for that day reached $580. I still paid for it, but for the first time, as I signed the receipt, I no longer felt it was a gift for Mama. That night, after the crowd had thinned, Imani found me. Miss Zora, I'm so sorry. I think Mama Lena got upset with me. I was taken aback. You didn't do nothing wrong. Maybe I was too slow. That's why she got angry. I looked at the young woman, her head bowed, and suddenly felt a pang in my heart. The person who caused the trouble wasn't apologizing, while the person who did the right thing was taking the blame. I put my hand on Imani's shoulder. You followed the correct procedure. From now on, if something like this happens again, tell me immediately. Don't take it on yourself. That night, I sat alone in my office. Outside, only the hum of the air conditioner could be heard. I understood that if I stayed silent, my employees would no longer know what was a rule and what was an exception. My tolerance was meant to keep the peace, but if it was causing harm to others, it was no longer tolerance. I opened my computer and began to draft a new policy for all relatives on both sides. I knew Mama wouldn't be happy about it, but there are some boundaries that, the longer you wait to build them, the higher the price you'll pay. 3 days later, I called Imani, Chef Antoine, and 2 other department heads into my office. In front of them was a new policy, just a few lines, but I knew it would cause resentment in our family. I said, from now on, all relatives on both sides using our services must have confirmation from either me or Meech. Rooms, expensive liquor, premium seafood, and car services can't be released without it. Imani looked at me, her face relieved. That will make it easier for us, ma'am. Chef Antoine nodded. If it's implemented for both sides, no one can say we're playing favorites. When family comes, we'll still treat them well, but being polite don't mean they can get whatever they want. I signed the policy and distributed it to each department, posting only 1 copy in an internal area to avoid the feeling that we was doubting our relatives. That afternoon, I called Meech to tell him. He was silent for a moment before saying, if you're gonna do that, be gentle when you tell Mama. Is there something wrong with the policy? Nothing's wrong. I'm just afraid she'll think you're targeting her. All relatives on both sides are covered. If she still thinks that, the problem ain't with the policy. He sighed. All right, we'll talk about it later tonight. But before we could talk, Mama arrived. Round 4 in the afternoon, she walked into the lobby with a middle-aged man named Mr. Charles, an old friend of her late husband. Mama told Imani, open the storeroom and get me 2 bottles of that imported wine, the good kind. I'm giving it as a gift to Mr. Charles. Imani froze and replied politely, oh, Mama Lena, we need confirmation from Miss Zora or Mr. Meech for the wine cellar. Let me call ma'am first. Mama frowned. I'm just getting 2 bottles of my own family's wine, and I need to ask permission? Yes, Mama Lena. I'm just following the new policy. Mama saw the paper on the counter, picked it up, read it, and shouted, where is Zora? I came down the stairs. I'm right here, Mama. She held up the paper. You made this? Yes. It's a general policy for all relatives on both sides. Mama laughed coldly. Which relatives? Just say you made it to stop me. Mr. Charles was embarrassed. Let it go, Lena. I don't even drink wine. Mama was even more humiliated. Now, I'm just trying to get 2 bottles to give to an old friend of my husband. You'd think I was a thief in our own cellar, I whispered. I ain't forbidden you from giving a gift, Mama. But the wine in the cellar has an inventory log for what comes in and out. Just 1 word to me is enough. My son owns this hotel, and I'm his mother. I'm just getting 2 bottles, and I have to go through my daughter-in-law's inspection? A few guests nearby started to look at us. I walked closer. Mama, let's talk in the office. She refused. Let's do it right here, so everyone knows how my daughter-in-law manages me. Just then, Meech arrived. He heard Mama's voice as soon as he walked in. Mama called out to him. Meech, get over here. I want to know if you still have a part in this hotel, or if your wife owns everything now. Meech looked at the policy. What's happening, Ma? I asked for 2 bottles of wine to give to Mr. Charles, but your wife's employees said I need to ask for permission. I raised you, and now, just to get a gift, I have to wait for approval. He turned to me. Just give Mama 2 bottles. I replied, I ain't being stingy with 2 bottles of wine. But if the new policy is broken on the very first day, who's gonna respect it tomorrow? Mama interjected. You hear that? In your wife's eyes, A piece of paper is more important than me. Meech rubbed his forehead. Just let Mama have it this time. I'll talk to her tonight. I looked at my husband. You always say just this once. He was taken aback. Last time it was food. Today, it's wine. Tomorrow, it'll be rooms, the car, and what else? You always use being family-oriented to cover for everything. When the hole in the cloth gets too big, ain't nobody gon' be able to sew it back up. The area around the front desk suddenly fell silent. Mr. Charles waved his hand. All right, I'm heading home. You all talk this out. Mama stopped him. Don't you leave, Charles? I want to see who my son is going to listen to today, his mother or his wife. Them words sent a chill through my heart. She no longer needed 2 bottles of wine. She needed a victory in front of other people. Meech looked at me, and his voice dropped. Help me out this one time. I understood that I didn't want the situation to escalate, and if we continued to argue in the middle of the lobby, the entire hotel would be embarrassed. In the end, I turned to Imani. Imani, create a request form for 2 bottles and put it on Meech's personal expenses. Imani nodded, but the disappointment in her eyes was clear. When Mama received the wine, her face immediately brightened. She handed it to Mr. Charles and said, See? This is my son's house. What's there to be ashamed of? For leavin', she turned back. Don't post papers like that. It's embarrassin' for the family. The glass door closed, but I remained standin' there. Meech said, I know you're angry. I'm disappointed. He tried to take my hand, but I pulled away. I don't need you to choose between me and your mother. I just need you to know the difference between feelin's and power. He fell silent. I turned to Imani. Keep the policy in place. From now on, without confirmation, don't release nothin', even if Mama is the one askin'. Yes, ma'am. That night, Meech sat in front of me in the office. I'm sorry. I know I embarrassed you, I said. Some things, when you give in, they end. But some things, when you back down, others will think you have a lot more space behind you. He nodded and promised to have a clear talk with Mama. I wanted to believe him. But the next morning, my Auntie Rochelle called the front desk looking for Mama Lena. Imani transferred the call to my office, thinking Mama was there. As soon as I answered, I heard Mama's voice on the other end. She must have been talking to someone on another line. She was laughing loudly. At our hotel, whatever you want to eat, you eat. Whatever you want to take, you take. Just yesterday, I took 2 bottles of imported wine to give to a friend, and nobody dared to object. Auntie Rochelle was impressed. You're so lucky now, big sis. Mama was silent for a moment, then said happily, In that case, get your schedule cleared. When you're free, I'll invite you all here to Charleston for a vacation. I froze in my seat, holding the phone. It hadn't even been a day since she got the 2 bottles of wine, but in Mama's story, it had become proof that she had absolute power over the Indigo Pearl Hotel. After hearing that phone call, I didn't immediately tell Meech. First, I wasn't sure if Mama was just joking when she invited Auntie Rochelle or if she had serious plans. Second, I was afraid that if I brought it up again, he would think I was being too sensitive after the incident with the 2 bottles of wine. But what I didn't know was that for Mama, it wasn't a simple invitation. Later, it was Kiara, Auntie Rochelle's daughter, who told me the whole story. Back when my father-in-law passed away early, she raised her 2 children alone. They was poor back then. Their tin roof had holes, and every time it rained, they had to catch water with basins. Once, they went back to their hometown for a church homecoming. The relatives was chipping in to repair the church, but Mama could only give a small amount. A relative said, If you're struggling, Lena, just let those who are better off handle it. You would think decades had passed, but them words remained stuck in Mama's throat like a fishbone. Ever since Meech became successful, every time Mama went back home, she dressed better and her voice was louder. She didn't just want people to know her son was successful. She wanted the people who once looked down on her to look at her with admiration. One Sunday afternoon, Mama joined a group call with relatives from her mother's side. The first to speak was Uncle Bo, Mama's youngest brother, who was a natural joker. Big sis, you're the luckiest one in the family now. Your son owns a hotel by the sea. I bet when you wake up in the morning, someone brings you coffee in bed. Everyone on the phone laughed. Auntie Rochelle said, Don't tease your sister, Bo. That's Meech and Zora's hotel. Sis lives in her own house, not there. What Auntie Rochelle said unintentionally bruised Mama's pride. She immediately shot back. Who says the hotel is only theirs? In the beginning, without my money, how could they have built it? Uncle Bo chimed in. In that case, you must have contributed a lot, big sis. Mama hesitated for a moment. If she had just told the truth that we had already paid back the loan, the conversation might have ended there. But instead, she laughed. That hotel is really mine. Since I'm old now, I just put it in Meech and Zora's names to make it easier to get bank loans and manage it. The other end of the line suddenly fell silent. Then a barrage of questions followed. Really, sis? You sure know how to keep a secret. That's just like Big Sis, never one to brag. The praise only made Mama more confident. Auntie Rochelle was still hesitant. It's tourist season now. They might be busy. We might just be a bother if there are too many of us. Mama immediately replied, "What bother? I'm the owner. I'll let my family stay there. Who's gonna complain?" Kiara, Auntie Rochelle's daughter, was also on the call. Being an accountant, she was careful with money and asked directly, "Auntie Lena, if there are a lot of us, the cost for rooms and food might be high. Maybe it would be better if we all pitched in?" Mama laughed. "Don't you worry, Kiara. If you come to my place and you still have to pay, it would be a disgrace to the whole family. Just bring your clothes. I'll take care of the food and lodgin'." When Uncle Bo heard this, he was ecstatic. "In that case, let's plan the trip, big sis. My kids are always talking about the beach, but they've never been to Charleston." At first, Mama only planned to invite Auntie Rochelle's and Uncle Bo's families, about 16 people in total. But Uncle Bo invited his 2 married children as well. Auntie Rochelle figured that since it was a long trip, she might as well bring an elderly aunt to keep her company. The invitations snowballed until the list reached 26 people. Kiara asked, "Are you sure, Auntie? Is it really okay for this many?" Mama replied confidently, "The hotel has over 30 rooms. We won't run out of space. Even if you stay for a week, it won't make a difference." A week. She said them 2 words so lightly, as if 8 rooms didn't need their sheets changed, towels washed, electricity and water paid for, and didn't mean passing up the chance to host other guests. That night, Mama called a friend who owned a bus company in Columbia and chartered a 4-5-seater bus to bring the whole group to Charleston. She used her savings for a down payment and told the driver to pick up each family in the morning, 10 days from now. The bus owner asked, "Is there parking at the hotel, ma'am?" Mama answered with full confidence, "It's my hotel. Just drive straight to the door. Whether you stay or go back, I'll take care of the payment." In the following days, she called each family, reminding them to bring swimsuits, medicine, and IDs. She also told them there was no need to bring a lot of money, because breakfast, lunch, and dinner were all covered by the restaurant. Kiara still felt uneasy. She called Mama, "Auntie, have you told Cousin Meech yet?" Mama got annoyed. "Why do I need to tell him my plans? But they're the ones managing the hotel. Managin', not ownin'." "Don't you believe everything you hear, Kiara?" Kiara fell silent, but she wasn't fully convinced. Meanwhile, Uncle Bo got more and more excited. He called Mama, "Big sis, on the last night. Let's have a party. It's been so long since we've all gotten together like this." Mama replied, "Sure, I'll have them cook a seafood feast. If needed, I'll hire a DJ for the ballroom. Can I invite some of my old friends in Charleston?" Mama hesitated, but still agreed. "If they're close friends, sure. It's my hotel, a few extra people is nothin'." With every promise, she sank deeper. If she backed out, she would have to admit she wasn't the owner. If she continued, she would have to force us to follow all her wishes. She chose to hide it until the very end. During them 10 days, she still came to the hotel regularly, eating a bowl of soup or drinking some sweet tea, then going home. She never once mentioned the 26 people who was comin'. Even when Meech asked if she was going back to her hometown for the weekend, she answered calmly, "I'm old. I'll just stay home, travelin' is tirin'." The day before the trip, she called an old friend in Charleston. "Tomorrow, my relatives are comin'. Over the weekend, come to my hotel. We're having a party. I've reserved a nice room for you." The friend asked, "Have you told Zora?" Mama smirked. "I'm inviting a guest to my own place. Why do I need to ask my daughter-in-law for permission?" That afternoon, the bus company called to confirm. 4:30 tomorrow morning, I'll start picking up the passengers. 26 inches total, is that correct? Mama replied, "Correct. Make sure the bus is clean. I don't want to be embarrassed." At that point, everyone back home was packed. The kids was excited, and the bus was full of gas. Round 10 at night, Meech's phone rang. I was next to him, looking at the room list, when I heard him answer the call. "Hello, Ma?" On the other end, Mama's voice was as calm as if she was about to say something very trivial. "Tomorrow morning, our relatives from back home are comin'. Reserve 8 nice rooms for me. They're only stayin' for a week. That call was so sudden that Meech sat up straight, and I, holding a pen, froze mid-sentence. Meech slowly asked, "How many people, Ma?" 26. There are old folks and kids. They'll be here early tomorrow morning. Meech's brow furrowed. Why didn't you tell us sooner? On the other end, Mama sounded unconcerned. We're family. What's the difference if I tell you early or late? Just reserve 8 nice rooms for me. I opened our booking system. We was almost full for the weekend. There was exactly 8 rooms that a group from New York had just canceled due to a flight change. If I put 'em back in the system, they would probably all be sold within a night. I leaned over and whispered, "Ask how many nights." Mama immediately answered, 7 nights. If you're going on vacation, you should make the most of it. Meech turned to me, the tension clear on his face. 8 rooms, 7 nights, 26 people. Is this all final, Ma? Yes. The bus is booked? They're all packed. Meech restrained his voice. You did all this without talking to me or Zora? Mama started to get annoyed. This is my son's hotel. I'm just inviting some relatives for a few days. Do I need to ask for permission? I heard what she said and a chill went down my spine. Meech put the call on speaker. I spoke, Mama. If relatives are coming, we will welcome 'em. But 8 rooms for 7 days, plus food, electricity, water, and laundry, all of that has a cost. 'Cause your notice was so sudden, we can't prepare. Mama laughed bitterly. You've brought your account books into our conversation again. I'm telling you this so you understand, not to argue. Understand what? When you was starting out, without my $20,000, could you have done it? I opened a drawer and pulled out an old folder. The paper Mama had signed confirming she had received the full payment 2 years ago was carefully kept inside. I ain't forgotten your help back then. Ma. And we've paid you back in full. We even have a signed note from you. My debt of gratitude for your help is something I will carry for the rest of my life. But a debt that has been paid cannot become a right to own the hotel. The other end of the line fell silent. Then Mama shouted, You're so good with words. If it weren't for me giving birth to Meech, who would you have married to get a hotel? Meech gripped the phone tightly. Ma, let's talk about this properly. You raised me, and I'll be grateful for the rest of my life. But this hotel is owned by me and my wife, which we worked hard to build through debt. You can't just claim it and invite the whole family. Mama suddenly started crying. That's right. Once you have a wife, everything your mother says is wrong. I just wanted the family to have a good time, but here you are, counting every towel. I tried to calm my voice. Ma, please listen to me. There's a newly opened inn nearby, just about 300 yards away. We can rent additional rooms for him there, and we'll help with the bill. 2 main meals a day will be on us at the restaurant. That way, everyone will be comfortable, and our previously booked guests won't be affected. She immediately objected. No way. Why not, Ma? 'Cause I already told him the hotel is mine. The whole room fell silent. Even though I had heard the call 4, it still hurt to hear her admit it herself. Meech closed his eyes. What did you tell him, Ma? Mama hesitated. I told him I invested and just put it in your names for management. Meech stood up. Why would you say that? I said it so they would respect me. You ain't losing nothing. Ma, call him right now and tell him the hotel belongs to me and my wife. The trip can still happen, but they'll have to cover a portion of the costs. She dismissed it. If I take back what I said, it's like slapping my own face. The whole family will laugh at me, I replied. It's better to be embarrassed once for telling the truth than to continue a lie. Mama laughed coldly. It's easy for you to say that. You weren't the one looked down on by relatives. Meech went out to the balcony, stood there for a moment, and came back. What time does the bus leave? 4:30 inches the morning. Are there really old folks and kids? 4 senior citizens, 6 children. He looked at me, his eyes full of guilt. What if we just take them in this one time? If we cancel, they've already arranged their work schedules and the kids are excited. I know it's hard for you, but I can't just leave them stranded. I asked, you want me to set aside the rules? No. I'm just asking you to let them stay for 7 days. We'll write down all the expenses, and after, we'll discuss it as a family. I'll talk to Mama in front of you. I stiffened. On one side, there was principals. On the other, 26 people who didn't know they was victims of a lie. I wasn't angry at them, but I couldn't let the hotel bear all the consequences. I blocked the 8 canceled rooms in the system. All right, I'll take them in. Meech sighed in relief, but I continued. There are 3 conditions. First, all rooms and services must be recorded. Second, liquor, transportation, karaoke, room changes, or invitin' extra guests require a signature. Third, when they arrive, Mama needs to know that this ain't a free vacation with no conditions. He nodded. I agree. I turned to the phone. Is that clear, Ma? She answered dismissively. I heard you. We'll welcome 'em properly, but I'll create a master receipt in your name. After the trip, the three of us will discuss how to split it. I'm telling you this now so no one can say I deceived 'em, Mama smirked. Go ahead and write it down. Is your paper heavier than family ties? The paper ain't heavy, but the employees' salaries, the lost revenue, and everyone's exhaustion carry weight. She didn't reply. She just said, the bus will arrive round 8 in the morning. Reserve the nice rooms. Don't embarrass me. Before she hung up, her words were cold and clear. Go ahead, write it down. Tomorrow, you'll find out whose weight carries more weight in this house. Meech sat down next to me. I'm sorry. I handed him the list of the 8 rooms I had blocked. Tomorrow, stand by my side when I'm assigning the rooms. I'll be there, and when Mama says the hotel is hers, you need to speak up. He was silent for a moment, then nodded. That night, with Imani, we prepared the key cards, put the elderly on the lower floors, and the families with young children near the elevator. I told the kitchen to prepare grits and she crab soup because the travelers would surely be hungry. Because I understood that when they got off that bus tomorrow, it wouldn't just be 26 relatives arriving, but the consequence of a lie my mother-in-law had nurtured for 10 days. The next morning, as the sun's rays was still thin over Charleston, I was in the lobby 4-7. Imani and 2 other staff members rechecked the 8 key cards, while Chef Antoine instructed the kitchen to keep the grits and she crab soup warm for the new arrivals. Standing next to me was Meech, holding the list of 26 names. I looked at him. You remember what we talked about last night? He nodded. I remember. 8 rooms, all services listed. If Mama says something wrong, I'll speak up. He looked out the window. I'll speak up. Round 7. 50 inches the morning, the horn of a vehicle echoed. A 4-5 Cedar bus slowly pulled up in front of the hotel. When the door opened, Mama was the first to step out, wearing a red dress, her face glowing as if she ran the place. She turned and shouted, Be careful, getting off! We're here at our hotel. I heard every word, but I still walked out with a smile. Good morning, Mama. Good morning, Auntie Rochelle, Uncle Beau, and all of you. Auntie Rochelle followed Mama, carrying a bag of fruit from back home. She took my hand. I'm sorry, Zora, if there are too many of us. Your sister just told us to come. I was embarrassed too. I replied, It's okay, Auntie. You must be tired from the trip. Please come inside and rest. When Uncle Beau got off, he looked up at the Indigo Pearls sign. Your hotel is beautiful, big sis. You sure know how to keep a secret. Mama laughed. Oh, please. It's just a simple business. One by one. People got off, carrying suitcases, some holding boxes of fruit. The children ran into the lobby, pointing at the courtyard fountain, and the elevator. A few guests who was checking out also looked over. Imani whispered to me, Ma'am, they're all here, 26 of them. I nodded. Help them with their luggage, but don't give out the key cards yet. Mama heard this and asked, Why aren't the keys being given out yet? Everyone's tired. I replied, I just need to confirm something with you. Her brow furrowed. More paper? I kept my voice calm. Yes, just like we discussed last night. I invited Mama and Meech to the front desk. In front of the 3 of us was a confirmation slip for 8 rooms for 7 nights, with a note that all food and additional services would be listed separately. I said, Please take another look, Ma. The rooms for the seniors are on the 2nd floor. The families with children are near the elevator. All extras, like special orders, karaoke, transportation, room changes, or wine, will require a signature. She glanced at it quickly, annoyance clear on her face. You'd think I brought a bunch of strangers here to wreck your hotel. That ain't what I'm saying. I just want everything to be clear from the start. Meech spoke up. Just sign it, Ma. We talked about this last night. Mama turned to her son, as if she couldn't believe he would speak so directly. But in the background, Uncle Beau was already shouting about when they would get their rooms, so she didn't want to drag it out. Mama took the pen and signed, pressing so hard the ink almost tore through the paper. Happy now? I took the paper. Yes, Ma. Mama immediately turned to the group, her voice cheerful as if no conversation had just happened. Listen up, everyone. This hotel is mine, so make yourselves comfortable like you're in your own home. Whatever you want to eat, just order it. If you need anything, just say my name. Don't be shy round Zora. I tightened my grip on the papers. Auntie Rochelle quickly spoke up. Sis, there are a lot of us. Whatever we can cover, we'll take care of it. Mama waved her hand. Put your money away. If I'm the one who invited you, I'll take care of it. Uncle Bo laughed loudly. You heard the owner. No need to be shy now. Only Kiara, Auntie Rochelle's daughter who was standing near the front desk, was looking intently at me, then at Mama. Imani started handing out key cards. I personally gave each one to the families, explaining the breakfast hours, the swimming pool rules, and the front desk's phone number. When I got to Kiara, she asked gently, Miss Zora, are you the manager of the hotel? Before I could answer, Mama cut in. She manages the inside, but the big decisions are still up to me and Meech. Kiara looked at me for another second and smiled. Just askin'. I didn't correct what she said. There were too many people, the old folks was tired, and the children was starting to get noisy. I just said, if you need anything, just call the front desk or me directly. After everyone got their rooms, Chef Antoine prepared she-crab soup, grits, cornbread, and iced tea. Everyone felt better after the long journey. While eating, Auntie Rochelle praised, the food is delicious. Zora is such a great hostess. Mama immediately replied, she just followed my orders. I told her the service for our guests had to be good. I was standing near the counter and my chest tightened. With every word, she was erasing me from my own efforts and turning me into just a subordinate. Meech heard it. I turned, waiting for him to speak. He bit his lip and said, Ma, Zora is the one who directly manages the hotel. If you need anything, you should talk to her. Mama looked at him, her eyes turning a little cold. I didn't say she wasn't managing. Her answer was so clever at avoiding the truth. Meech didn't say anything more, but this time he didn't stay completely silent. At noon, after everyone had rested, Mama led him on a tour of every floor. She pointed out the function hall, the ballroom, the restaurant, and told him she had picked out every tile and every set of tables. I heard Imani's report on the walkie-talkie and just replied, let him tour the public areas. Don't open any occupied rooms. A few moments later, I went up to the third floor and saw Mama standing in front of our most expensive suite. She turned to Uncle Bo. This is the best room in the hotel. I'm sleeping here tonight. I walked over. Ma, that room is reserved for a business partner arriving tomorrow. Your room is on the second floor. It's more spacious and closer to the elevator. She frowned. The outsiders get the nice room. And me, the owner's mother, I get put downstairs? I replied, it ain't about who's more important. If it's already reserved, we have to respect that. The relatives around us fell silent. Kiara looked at me again, the doubt in her eyes now clearer. Mama smiled bitterly. Fine, I'll accommodate your guests this time. She turned away, but before getting into the elevator, she said loudly, remember, next time, reserve this for me. It's our family's hotel, but I always have to ask for permission. I stood in front of the suite door, watching Mama's shadow slowly disappear. The 8 key cards had been distributed. Her signature was on the confirmation slip, and the lie had been exposed in front of 26 people. From that moment on, I knew it wasn't just the hotel I had to protect from expenses. I also had to protect my own dignity from being erased in the place where I had dedicated 9 years of my youth. The first 2 days passed more peacefully than I had expected. Every morning, the whole group would come down to the restaurant together for the buffet. After eating, they would go to the beach and only return in the afternoon. The employees was busier, but everything was still manageable. Auntie Rochelle was my favorite in the group. Wherever she went, she reminded the children to be well-behaved, to pick up their trash, and to put wet towels in the right place. On the afternoon of the first day, she found me at the front desk, holding an envelope. Zora, here's a little something to help with the room bill. There are too many of us, I'm embarrassed. Before I could even accept it, Mama came over from the restaurant. What you doing, Rochelle? Auntie Rochelle replied. Just chipping in, sis. It's a big deal that you invited us, but this is 7 days, not just one meal. Mama pulled her hand away and pushed the envelope back. I told you, you don't have to pay. If you do that, it's like you're treating me as a stranger. I'm just embarrassed for the kids. This is my hotel. Who they botherin'? Put that away. Auntie Rochelle looked at me as if asking a question. I answered softly, just keep it for now, Auntie. After the trip, we'll talk about it. Mama immediately cut in. There's nothing to talk about. If I'm the one who invited you, I'll take care of it. Her tone was so firm that Auntie Rochelle didn't insist. But I understood that Mama was trying to maintain her image as the owner in front of the relatives. The morning of the second day, Maya called me to the counter to check the list of checkouts. Just then, Kiara came out of the elevator. The staff handed me the book. Ma'am, could you check if room 306 has an additional hour? Kiara stopped, and her gaze shifted from the staff to me. Ma'am? The staff replied naturally. Yes, Miss Zora is the owner of the hotel. Before I could speak, Mama suddenly stood up from the sofa. What owner? She just manages it. Kiara was surprised. But Auntie, you said yesterday that they and Cousin Meech were just named for you. Mama smiled quickly. It's the same thing. I provided the capital, but since I'm old, I can't get a loan from the bank, so I put it in their names. The employees are just used to calling her that to make things easier. Kiara turned to me. Is that true, Miss Zora? I looked at Mama, and she looked back at me. Her eyes no longer pleadin' but a silent warnin'. Don't you dare embarrass me. There were guests waitin' at the counter, and a family had just arrived and needed to check in. I just said, let's talk about the ownership later. I'm just taking care of something. Kiara nodded, but the doubt on her face didn't disappear. At noon, the whole group sat at 3 tables in the restaurant. Chef Antoine had prepared simple dishes: fish stew, crab soup, collard greens, and fried eggs for the kids. Auntie Rochelle had only taken a few bites when she praised, Zora is such a great hostess. Even with so many of us, the food is still hot. Mama smiled, her voice soft. She managed that 'cause her husband's family gave her the opportunity. When they was newly married, Zora had nothing. She didn't know nothing about hotels and restaurants. Me and Meech taught her everything, so now she can manage on her own. The spoon in my hand froze. I was standing behind a partition near the counter, so I heard every word. The 9 years of debt, the sleepless nights, and the times I ran round just to keep customers, in just a few words from Mama, had become nothing more than a gift from the husband's family to a daughter-in-law who brought nothing with her. Kiara spoke up. But Auntie, I heard from Cousin Meech that Miss Zora has been managin' since the beginnin'. Mama put down her bowl. She manages 'cause of this family's capital. Women who get married are different dependent on who they lean on. How can a tree stand without roots? I took a deep breath. If I came out at that moment, lunch would surely turn into a confrontation. I didn't want to put everyone in the middle of a fight between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, so I just turned and told the staff to continue servin'. A few moments later, Mama shouted, Zora, where are you? Get me a dippin' sauce with hot peppers and garlic. I want it spicy. Kiara was about to get it, but I stopped her. I'll do it. I mixed the sauce and placed it in front of Mama. Here you go, Mama. She didn't look at me. She just turned to everyone. See, everything I say, she follows. When a daughter-in-law knows how to show respect, the home will be peaceful. A few people laughed just to say something. Kiara bowed her head, looking uncomfortable. Meech had just come out and heard the last sentence. He looked at me, then at Mama, and his mouth opened as if he was about to say something. Mama immediately asked, Meech, where's the van? We're going sightseeing this afternoon. He was taken aback. Yes, Ma, I'm calling for it now. With just one look from Mama, he had forgotten our conversation again. I didn't need a husband who would shout to defend me. I just needed one right word at the right time to know I wasn't alone. That afternoon, Amani brought the receipts for the first 2 days to my office. Besides the 8 rooms, there was also additional drinks, fruit brought to the rooms, a private van to the city market, and some food that wasn't on the buffet. The amount wasn't that big yet, but Mama's signature was clearly on every paper. I stared at it for a long time. If I stayed silent, Mama would only believe more that everything was under her control. But if I told the truth now, over 20 happy people would find out they had been deceived. I didn't know which way was less painful. If you were in my shoes, when you heard your mother-in-law claiming all your hard work, would you continue to endure it, or would you tell the truth in front of the relatives? That night, Meech found me. You mad at me? I closed the folder. I don't need you to fight with Mama. I just need you not to stay silent when she says something wrong. He sat in front of me. I was afraid of embarrassing Mama at the dinner table. But me? When she said I brought nothing and that I only made it 'cause of your family, wasn't I embarrassed? He bowed his head. I'm sorry. Next time, I'll speak up. I didn't respond to that next time. I had heard it more than once. Round 10 at night, I came down from the office. Everyone had returned to their rooms, and most of the restaurant lights was off. I was about to turn over the shift when the phone at the front desk rang. Imani answered it, and after a moment, she turned to me with a worried look. Miss Zora, rooms 205, 207, and 210. They said they won't be coming down for the buffet tomorrow. They want fried catfish, grits, and eggs sent to their rooms at 9:30 the morning. I asked, Did you tell him the buffet only runs until 9:00? Yes, ma'am, I did. But they said Mama Lena told him to just order whatever 'cause it's their hotel anyway. Outside the glass, the waves continued to crash under the streetlights. And inside me, my patience was beginning to reach a limit that even I could no longer ignore. The next morning, I was down in the kitchen just after 6. The buffet had just opened, and the smell of freshly baked biscuits and grits filled the entire first floor. I told Chef Antoine to set aside a small pot of grits for the elders in the group. Any special orders after the buffet hours would have to be listed on the receipt, as agreed. Chef Antoine looked at me. How long you gonna let this go on, ma'am? I understood he wasn't asking about cooking extra grits. He was asking how long I would let my mother-in-law pull the entire hotel along with her whims. I replied, just do your job, chef. I'll handle the family. At exactly 9 o'clock, the buffet closed. The employees cleared the food and began preparing for the lunch of a corporate client who had booked in advance. At 9:20, the phone in the kitchen rang. Imani reported that 3 rooms on the second floor was requesting room service. 6 plates of fried catfish, 4 bowls of grits, 6 fried eggs, along with hot milk and fruit. Chef Antoine put down his knife. At this hour, we're already preparing for lunch. If we make those, everything will be delayed. I asked if there was any elderly people. In room 205, there's a grandmother over 70. The other 2 are just kids. I thought for a moment and said, cook the grits for grandma. For the other rooms, just simple food. No seafood, it's too expensive and takes too long to make. Less than 5 minutes later, Mama walked into the kitchen. Why just plain eggs and toast? I said fried catfish. Chef Antoine replied politely, we're already preparing for the client's lunch. After 9, the buffet is over. We're still helping you out, but we can't open the whole buffet again. She put her hands on her hips. My family is just trying to eat breakfast, and you're making it difficult. I walked over. Ma, I've told you the meal times since the first day, 'cause Grandma is old. I still allowed the grits to be cooked. For the kids who woke up late, simple food is enough. She looked at me. You being stingy with a few pieces of shrimp? I ain't being stingy with the shrimp. I'm protecting the workflow in the kitchen so it don't get chaotic. She smirked. When there's a client, it's like gold. When it's family, it's like you owe 'em a favor. In the end, all the orders was cooked. I instructed Imani to bring the receipt to each room for a signature. Mama was annoyed, but she still signed. As she signed, she said, my daughter-in-law really loves her paper. Next thing you know, she'll need me to write down every breath I take. I didn't answer. That breakfast cost over $90, not to mention the delayed prep in the kitchen. At 11, 6 children from the group came down. They saw the cakes, yogurt, and fruit prepared for lunch. They grabbed chairs and started taking them. One child took a bite of each cake and then left it. 2 cartons of milk was opened but not drunk. Fruit peels was scattered on the table. Auntie Rochelle passed by and immediately called the children over. Only take what you can eat. People worked hard for that. It's not for playing with. One of the mothers smiled. They're just kids, Auntie. It's not like it cost that much. Auntie Rochelle's face became serious. Cost or not, someone else worked hard for it. You should learn to have some respect. I felt a sense of relief. At least one person in the group understood. The employees had just finished cleaning when Uncle Bo walked in with 3 men I didn't know. He called out, Zora, my old friends from here in Charleston. Add another table. The restaurant was almost full, and the company party was about to start. Did you ask Mama or Meech? Uncle Bo laughed. We're family. It's just 3 people. Big Sis said my guests are her guests. Mama appeared from behind. That's right. Prepare a seafood feast for Bo. They ain't seen each other in a long time, don't spoil the fun. I told her the restaurant was full, but I could add a small table, and they would have to stick to the remaining menu, and it would still be added to the receipt. Mama replied, I know. You probably can't eat properly if you don't mention the word receipt. Uncle Bo was embarrassed but still led his friends to the table. I had him add grilled fish, fried calamari, and she crab soup. But less than 10 minutes later, Mama requested crab and steamed shrimp. Imani brought the receipt for Mama to sign. She signed it quickly and said, This is my son's house, but everything needs a signature. You'd think I was eating for free. I stood in front of her. You was reminded from the beginning. I'm writing it down so there are no misunderstandings in the end. Her voice was cold. You using money to scare the family? I'm just reminding you that everything here has a cost. She laughed. The way you talk, you'd think I was ruining your whole business. I didn't argue anymore. But when I got back to the office, I gathered all the receipts from the first day. It had already reached over $2,500. I called Mama and showed her the calculation. It's only been 3 days and it's over $2,500. That don't even include the room charges. If this continues, it's gonna be a lot in the end. She didn't look at it closely. You're deliberately inflating it to scare me. This is the real data. The rooms was vacant anyway. The food was already in the restaurant. Why you calculating it like a regular customer? I spoke slowly. A vacant room still has costs for electricity, water, and lost revenue. The food is bought, it don't just magically appear. The employees don't work for free. She slammed the papers down. Ain't you tired? When family comes, all you think 'bout is money. She stood up and left, leaving me sittin' in front of the growin' pile of receipts. That afternoon, Chef Antoine asked to speak with me. Miss Zora, I ain't complainin' about a few pounds of shrimp. The people in the kitchen are startin' to get angry. She orders at all hours, changes the dishes, and a lot of food is being wasted. We're still doing it out of respect for you, but if this continues, they'll think the rules are only for customers and employees. I fell silent. He continued. Your love for your family is your business, but the employees also need to be respected. They shouldn't be yelled at just for doing the right thing. Them words hit on the very thing I was trying to avoid. I could tolerate the financial loss, Mama's hurtful words, but I had no right to drag 28 employees into it just to keep the peace in my family. That night, when I came down to the restaurant, Imani ran over. Miss Zora, I received an order list from Mama Lena. On the paper was written crab, shrimp, grouper, grilled beef, imported wine, fruit, and the ballroom. When did she order this? For tomorrow night. She said there's going to be a party. The best function hall needs to be prepared. I looked at the last line, written by Mama herself. Make it grand, don't be stingy. This time, she wasn't just asking for a simple meal. She was planning a huge banquet at the hotel without even asking me. The fourth day started with a strange quietness. From the morning, Mama didn't call the kitchen to order any food. She just sat in the restaurant, busy texting. I knew this silence wasn't 'cause she finally understood the situation, but 'cause she was gathering her strength for the party that night. Round 9 o'clock, she walked into my office and placed a menu on the table. Tonight, prepare the Orchid Function Hall for me. There will be 26 of us, plus some of Beau's guests. I looked at the list. Snow crab, shrimp, grouper, ribeye steaks, deviled eggs, mac and cheese, a low country boil, fruit, and cake. This is too much, Ma. There are many elderly people and children. Let's cut 3 dishes to avoid waste. She sat down. This is a family party. It would be embarrassing if the spread is meager. There's nothing embarrassing about having enough food. What's a shame is when tons of food are thrown away. Her brow furrowed. Just do what's on the list. I'm the one who invited 'em, so it has to be grand. I took a pen and crossed out imported wine at the end of the list. The food we can manage, but there's no need for imported wine. We already have beer, soft drinks, and local spirits. Just 4 bottles of wine and you're gonna be stingy about it? I'm not being stingy. But them 4 bottles are over $600. Our expenses for the past 3 days have already reached $2,500. She leaned back in her chair. Money again. Besides money, do you think 'bout anything else? I do. Dignity, reputation, and responsibility to the employees. And, 'cause of them things, I need to be clear about the money. She sneered and stood up. Fine, if there's no wine, that's okay. She left so quickly that I didn't realize how easily she had agreed. In the afternoon, Meech and I left to meet a client. 'Fore leavin', I instructed Imani, the Orchid Hall will follow the menu I approved. Don't open the wine cellar. For any additional costs, call me. Imani nodded. Yes, ma'am. When I returned round 6, the lights of the function hall was on. Laughter could be heard all the way down the hallway. Mama, wearing a green dress, was standing at the door, greeting everyone. When I walked in, I saw on the main table 4 bottles of imported wine, 2 of which was already open. I turned to Imani. She was pale. Mama approached me with a glass in her hand. I ordered that. Don't look at your employee like you want to eat her alive. I whispered. I said not to open the cellar. After you left, I changed my mind. No one can change what I've approved. She pulled a piece of paper from her pocket with her signature on it. I signed for it. Didn't you say that if I wanted to get something, it needed a signature? I followed your order. What else can you say? I looked at the paper. Mama had used my own rule against me. She used the signature as an excuse to get what she wanted. Imani whispered. She called me to her room. She said if I didn't get it, she would call Mr. Meach. I told her it needed your approval, but she said her signature was enough. I didn't blame Imani. In front of more than 20 people, 2 bottles was already open. If I took 'em away, the party would turn into a mess. I just said, file it. From now on, don't release nothing without my direct confirmation. Mama smiled as if she had won. Such a small thing, and you're making a big deal out of it. Come on, eat. Don't frown like that. You'll spoil everyone's appetite. I sat at a table near the door to observe the service. The food was served one after another. Uncle Bo raised his glass. Thanks, big sis. This is truly impressive. I never thought we had such a big businesswoman in the family. Everyone laughed. Mama also raised her glass, pride in her voice. It's nothin'. If I have something, I share it with my family. Auntie Rochelle looked at me, a worried expression on her face. She didn't speak, but I knew she was starting to understand that not everything her sister said was true. Halfway through the meal, Mama called for the receptionist. Tell the DJ to turn it up. We're having fun now. We should party until midnight. She looked at me. I checked the clock. It was only 8 o'clock. Loud music was only allowed until 10:30, so as not to disturb the other guests. Mama waved her hand. This is our hotel. If anyone complains, move 'em to another room. I replied, no one should have to move just 'cause we're having fun. She looked at me in front of the whole table. You always spoil the fun. You married into a wealthy family, but you count every bottle of wine and every hour of karaoke. It's embarrassing if others hear about it. My chest tightened. I put down my silverware. You can call me strict, but please, don't say that I only got ahead in life 'cause I married into your family. She smiled bitterly. Am I wrong? You came here with nothing. If it weren't for Meach, where would you be in this hotel? I felt the blood rush to my head, but my voice remained calm. I'm grateful to you for raising Meach well. But raising him don't mean you also own what's mine. This hotel is partly Meach's, but it also holds 9 years of my youth and sweat. Mama lightly slammed the table. You're so good with words, but remember, you're just an outsider. A wife can be replaced. A mother is forever. The whole room fell silent. Auntie Rochelle put down her glass. Kiara stared at me, her eyes full of disappointment. Just then, the door opened. Meach walked in. He must have heard what Mama just said. He walked straight to my side. That's enough, Ma. Mama turned. You're defending your wife in front of the whole family? I'm defending what's right. Zora is not an outsider. She's my wife, and we took out loans and built this hotel together. Mama stood up. What about me? I raised you for years just for you to lecture me now? Meach looked at her for a long time. I ain't forgotten everything you've done. But I won't let you insult my wife and use debt of gratitude to silence her. I looked at my husband. It was the first time he had opposed Mama in front of the relatives, not asking for understanding, and not trying to change the subject. Mama laughed, but the trembling of her lips was visible. Fine, side with each other. Stand by your rules. She drank the rest of the wine in her glass and spoke slowly. Let's see who will be embarrassed when they leave. The party continued, but no one was in the mood to sing anymore. The ballroom was opened until midnight, while I sat in my office, looking at the 4 wine receipts and the service hours added to the Groen bill. For the first time, Meach sat beside me without trying to defend his mother. He silently took the pen, signed the expense list, and said, Tomorrow, I won't let you face this alone. On the morning of the 5th day, I had just come down to the front desk when Imani ran up, tension on her face. Miss Zora, there's a problem in room 208 and 311. Could you please check? I followed her into the elevator. The 3rd floor was still quiet, with only the sound of the towel cart rolling by. In front of room 311, Miss Sharon, our housekeeping supervisor, was holding 2 sets of freshly stripped bedsheets. One was covered in grease stains from a dish. The other had stains from soft drinks and lipstick. It had even soaked through to the mattress protector. Miss Sharon said softly, I've tried soaking 'em, ma'am, but it looks like the stains won't come out. In this room, they had brought food in and placed the entire pot on the bed. I asked if the guest had reported the incident. No, ma'am. We just found it this morning. I checked room 208. On the floor was scattered potato chip crumbs, plastic cups, and food-caked footprints. The smell of fried fish and hot sauce clung to the entire room. We had to open all the windows and use an air freshener. I just said, take pictures, make a report, and replace the items. Don't argue with them, miss. Sharon nodded. but the weariness in her eyes made me feel sorry for her. The staff had been working overtime for days, and now they had to deal with problems that could have been avoided if the adults had just been more careful. I hadn't even gone downstairs when Imani called again on the walkie-talkie. "Miss Zora, someone is moving things into the suite." I ran to the end of the hallway on the third floor. The door to our best room was open. A family from room 214 had already moved their suitcases, bags, and a box of food inside. When the man saw me, he said, "It was too hot in our old room. Mama Lena said since this one was vacant, we could just stay here." I kept my voice calm. "This room is reserved for a business partner arriving this afternoon. Please return to your original room. If needed, I'll have the air conditioning checked and give you an extra electric fan." His wife frowned. "But Auntie said this is her hotel, and we can have any room we want." "Your aunt is not the one who directly manages the rooms. All changes must go through the front desk." Just then, Mama came out of the elevator. "What's all this commotion?" I turned to her. "Did you allow him to move into the suite?" She answered without hesitation. "It's vacant, so just let our family have it. Move your guests to another room." I said, "This partner has already signed a contract for an inspection. They chose this exact room to see our standard of service. If we just move them, it will ruin our reputation." Mama smirked. "Is an outsider more important than 4 relatives?" I didn't argue anymore. I asked the family to return to room 214, while I had maintenance check the air conditioning. Although they was reluctant, they agreed. But Mama, standing by, just kept shaking her head, as if I had made a huge mistake. The problem didn't end there. 'Cause the room had been opened, the bedding used, and food placed on the table, we couldn't properly welcome our business partner. I had to call to delay their arrival by 2 hours, offer free transportation, and give a discount. Their representative said politely, "We understand, but next time, we hope the agreement can be honored." A gentle word like that was heavier than any scolding. At noon, a loud crash was heard from the second-floor hallway. I ran down and saw that a decorative lamp had been shattered. A young boy, about 7 years old, was standing there, while his 2 companions ran away. Glass was scattered everywhere. When Miss Sharon bent down to pick it up, she cut her finger. I immediately grabbed her hand. "Don't pick it up. Imani, call a car and take Miss Sharon to the clinic." She quickly shook her head. "I'll just wash it and put a bandage on it." "No, it needs to be checked. You rest for today, you'll still be paid." Mama came over, looked at the lamp, and asked, "It's just one lamp. You're making a big deal out of it." "An employee got hurt, Ma." Uncle Bo came out of the room, and seeing his crying grandson, he hugged him. "He's just a kid, playing. It was an accident." I sat down and asked the boy, "You hurt anywhere?" He shook his head, still crying. I said to Uncle Bo, "I ain't blaming the child, but a hotel hallway is not a playground. The adults should be reminding him." Uncle Bo waved his hand. "We're family, don't bother making a report. Just tell me how much the lamp costs." I looked at him. The report ain't to punish the child. It's to document the damage and protect the employees who work here. If the cut had been deeper today, who would be responsible? He fell silent, but it was clear he still didn't agree. Auntie Rochelle arrived from the end of the hallway. When she learned what had happened, she turned to the children. "From now on, no more running in the hallways. When we're staying with someone, we have to learn to be careful. Don't use being family as an excuse." Mama got annoyed. "You make it sound like I brought him here to destroy the place," Auntie Rochelle answered directly. "I ain't talking about you, sis. I'm saying whoever made a mistake should learn to correct it." I didn't want the situation to escalate, so I instructed the staff to put up a barrier, clean up the glass, and remove the rest of the lamp. The cost wasn't that high, but what was exhausting was that every incident was dismissed just because it happened in the middle of a family trip. That afternoon, after I had rearranged the business partner's schedule, Meech returned. He had heard everything from Imani and personally inspected each room. When he saw the 2 ruined bedsheets, the suite that needed to be cleaned again, the broken lamp, and the prescription from the clinic for Miss Sharon, he didn't say a word. He just took the reports and went up to the office. That night, after the group had returned from their outing, he called me. On the table was a complete expense report. He had added every item: rooms, food, wine, karaoke, transportation, and damages. It had reached over $12,000. He was silent for a long time, his hands clasped together. "I didn't think it would come to this," I replied. "I told you from the beginning. But every time I set a boundary, you asked me to back down." He bowed his head. "I thought if I just gave in to Mama, everything would be peaceful. But the truth is, I was just passing the responsibility to you and the employees. I didn't say anything more. There are some words that if a person ain't ready to hear, whatever you say is meaningless. Only when they see the results for themselves do they understand how their silence became part of the problem. He looked at the report about Miss Sharon's injury, and his voice became strained. Tomorrow, I'm talking to Mama. I looked at him silently. He raised his gaze, and this time, he wasn't avoiding it. This time, I won't let you be alone. On the morning of the 6th day, the wind in Charleston was strong, and the clouds hung low over the ocean. Inside the hotel, the atmosphere was just as heavy. Meech woke up early, but he didn't go down to the storeroom as usual. Instead, he sat in the office. In front of him was all the receipts, damage reports, and the total cost of over $12,000. Round 7 o'clock, he said to me, "Please call Mama here." I looked at him. "You sure?" "I'm sure. Let me do the talking this time." I called Mama. She was with Auntie Rochelle in the restaurant. When she heard her son wanted to talk to her, her annoyance was obvious. "Can't we just talk there?" I replied, "Meech wants to speak with you privately." 10 minutes later, Mama walked in. She sat down and looked at the papers on the table, smirking. "More paper?" Meech got straight to the point. "Ma, I want to clear everything up now. From the start of the trip until now, the costs for rooms, food, wine, karaoke, transportation, and damages have reached over $12,000. Mama immediately waved her hand. "Don't use regular customer prices on family. I ain't even talked about the price yet. I'm talking about you claiming ownership of the hotel, ordering services, and allowing the employees to be yelled at." She turned to me. "Did she complain to you again?" Meech slowly tapped his finger on the table. "Don't shift the blame to Zora. I've read every receipt and every report. Miss Sharon was injured, a client's room was taken, and we had to give a discount on a contract. 2 sets of sheets was ruined. A lamp was broken. All of that is true." Mama was silent for a few seconds and then said, "When kids play, you can't avoid that. It's not like the whole hotel disappeared. It's not the cost that's the problem. The problem is how you treat everything here like it's free." She slammed her hand on the chair. "Is that how you talk to me?" Meech took a deep breath. "I'm saying this so you understand. From now on, we will still host them until the trip is over. But aside from the main meals, all other services will stop. No more wine, no more van, no room changes, and no inviting outside guests." Mama looked at her son as if she couldn't believe it. "Meech, do you know who you're talking to?" "I'm talking to my mother. And 'cause you are my mother, I have to be even more honest with you." Her voice broke. "I raised you since you were a child by selling fish sandwiches. Rain or shine, I was selling. Sometimes, even with a fever, I would wake up at 3 in the morning because I didn't want you to go hungry. Now, you have a little bit of property. I just invited some relatives, and you're going to use papers against me?" Meech bowed his head for a moment and then spoke. "I ain't forgotten how you raised me. I can't repay that even in a lifetime. But I can't use our shared marital assets to pay that debt of gratitude indefinitely." Mama pointed at me. "Ever since you married her, you've learned to talk like that." At that point, I spoke up. "Ma, I never said you should neglect taking care of yourself. Your medicine, expenses, and home repairs, I never objected. But that's different from you claiming ownership of the hotel and using it as you please." She laughed coldly. "You're so good at analyzing. What about the $20,000 back then?" Meech opened the drawer and took out the old document. "This is the paper that says you received the $20,000 in full 2 years ago. That was a loan, not a share in the business. Zora forced me to sign that." I replied, "I suggested you sign it so there would be no misunderstandings in the future. You read it carefully, and you yourself wrote that you had received it in full." She turned to her son. "So, you've been planning this all along. You was just waiting for the day to corner me." Meech shook his head. "No, no one is cornering you, Ma. You are the one using a debt that has already been paid to claim a right to our property." Mama wiped her tears. They was right. When a son gets married, he forgets his mother. Whatever was delicious, I would save for you. Now you're siding with your wife and treating me like a stranger." Meech sat up straight. "Don't force me to choose between you and my wife. Zora is my wife, my partner in debt, my partner in sleepless nights, and my partner in pay and salaries. You are my mother. Them are 2 different positions that can't be replaced," she shouted. "But she's tearing us apart!" I looked at her directly. "I have never incited Meech to leave you. All I'm asking is that you don't claim what ain't yours. If telling the truth is considered tearing you apart, Should I just stay silent to keep the peace? Meech turned to me, in front of Mama, and said, I'm sorry. I was taken aback, he continued. I forced you to endure it so many times, 'cause I thought that was the way to keep the peace. But the truth is, I was just passing the hardship to you. I let Mama think that if she caused trouble, I would be the one to make you back down. Mama looked at him, and her expression changed. I'm apologizing to my wife in front of you, Ma, 'cause I was wrong to her. Mama stood up. Fine. From now on, I won't order nothin'. I won't ask for nothin'. Let's see how happy you two are without me. Meech was still calm. I don't want you to leave or cut ties. I just want you to stop at the right place. Don't you lecture me. She turned to me. Are you happy now? I replied. I ain't happy that our family has come to this. But if I have to choose between a one-time conflict and continue in what's wrong, I choose to clear things up. She smirked and walked out. The door slammed so hard the glass rattled. I looked at Meech. You regret it? He shook his head. Yeah, but I regret speaking up so late. We agreed to continue with the plan, host the group until Saturday, and prepare the complete receipt. But we would talk to Mama privately so she wouldn't be embarrassed. I warned Imani that all services now required a signature from either me or Meech. Mama Lena's signature alone was no longer sufficient. I thought that conversation would be enough to stop Mama. But at noon, Imani ran up with a new request form. Miss Zora, Mama Lena is requesting a 2-9-seater bus for tomorrow. She says she's taken 'em to Folly Beach and to buy souvenirs. I looked at the bottom of the paper. Mama's signature was fresh. Meech, standing beside me, his face darkened. I asked Imani, did you confirm it? Not yet. I remembered what you said, so I brought it here. Meech took the paper and stared at it for a long time. Mama still wants to save face until the very end. I folded the paper. In that moment, I understood that the confrontation earlier hadn't made her realize her mistake. Instead, it only made her more determined to prove that her word still carried weight in this hotel. On Saturday morning, the sky over Charleston was crystal clear. After a rainy night, from the third-floor balcony, I could clearly see the blue ocean, and tourists was already heading to the beach early. Inside the Indigo Pearl Hotel, the hallway was filled with the sound of rolling suitcases, laughter, and children running as everyone prepared to go home. I went down to the office just after 6. On the table was all the receipts, confirmation slips, and damage reports from the past 7 days. With Imani, we reviewed each item one by one. The charge for 8 rooms for 7 nights, the food, the imported wine, karaoke, transportation, damaged items, and the compensation for the client added up to a sum that made even me sit down. $18,350. Imani stared at the screen and said, Miss Zora, I've calculated it 3 times. I ain't mistaken. I nodded. Print 2 copies. One for the file, one for my conversation with Mama. In front of everyone? No. I'll talk to her privately. Imani felt a sense of relief. Perhaps she was also afraid the lobby would become a stage for a family feud. Meech walked in just as she was printing. He took the summary, read it from top to bottom, and asked, You thought about how to split it? I don't plan to put it all on Mama. The family meals and some basic expenses we can cover. Whoever wants to contribute to the rooms can decide for themselves. But the wine, karaoke, outside guests, private van, and the damages, she has to be responsible for them. He nodded. I agree. I looked at my husband. Later, bring Mama here. I don't want her to be embarrassed in front of the whole family. I'll talk to her. Even though Mama had insulted me many times, I still wanted to give her a way to save face. 'Cause she was Meech's mother, the one who struggled to raise him. All I needed was for her to admit she had crossed a line without having to bow down in front of anyone. Round 8 o'clock, the whole group started coming down. The adults checked their luggage while the children played. A few aunts took pictures in front of the hotel logo. Auntie Rochelle found me. Zora, we've talked it over. Whatever my sister says, we're gonna contribute. We can't just stay here for a week and then leave. I replied, Yes, Auntie. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry. Uncle Bo heard this and laughed. You're always worrying about money, Rochelle. Big Sis said she's got it covered. We're family. Counting pennies is tiring. Auntie Rochelle turned. We may not count pennies, but we should know how to be considerate. This is a hotel, not just anyone's kitchen. Uncle Bo shrugged. Kiara came down the stairs and stopped beside me. Miss Zora, I want to ask something. Go ahead. Is this hotel really in your and Cousin Meech's name? I looked at her. Yes, Kiara sighed. I knew it. What Auntie is sayin' is too confusing. Before I could answer, Mama shouted, "Come on, let's take a picture." She was wearing a yellow dress, standing in the center. She had a staff member take their picture. She placed Auntie Rochelle and Uncle Beau next to her, while my husband and I was pushed to the side. Afterwards, she said happily, "This trip was a bit sudden, so I couldn't take care of you all properly. At the end of the year, I'll rent 2 buses and we'll invite the whole family. My hotel has plenty of rooms, no matter how many, there's space." My hands turned cold. Meech came over. "Ma, let's talk." She was still smiling. "Whatever you have to say it here." "We're family, there's nothing to hide." Meech whispered. "Let's go to the office, Ma. No need. I'm talking to my relatives." Kiara could no longer hold back. "Auntie, is this hotel really yours?" The smile vanished from Mama's lips. She replied, "The papers are in Meech's name. Why you asking things like that?" "But yesterday I heard Miss Zora talking to the bank. The loan and the property are in their names." Mama frowned. "What you know? Don't meddle in adult conversations." She still treated her like a child even though Kiara was over 30. Kiara was about to say more when her mother pulled her back. I walked over. "Ma, let's go into the office. I've prepared a way to handle this smoothly." She looked at the papers in my hand and smirked. "What way? You gonna take me inside to force me to sign something?" "No one will force you, Ma. I just don't want to discuss family problems in the middle of the lobby." She turned to everyone. "See? I'm the owner, but my daughter-in-law wants to hide behind closed doors. If you have something to say it here." Meech came closer. "Ma, last request, let's go inside." She looked straight at her son. "You 'fraid your wife can't handle answering me in front of everyone? I'm 'fraid you'll embarrass yourself." Them words made her expression change. She pointed to the front desk. "This hotel is mine. I don't need to ask for permission from Zora or you bout who I invite. If they stayed here for a week, it's cause of me. At the end of the year, I'm bringing 2 more buses. Who's gonna stop me?" The entire lobby fell silent. Even the other guests looked over. Amani, behind the counter, her hands was shaken. Chef Antoine came out of the restaurant but didn't interfere. I kept my voice calm. "You asking me to say everything right here, right now?" She lifted her chin. "Yes, say it. Don't take me somewhere else." I turned to Meech. He looked at me and nodded. It wasn't a nod of surrender, but a confirmation that this time, he would stand by my side until the end. I walked behind the counter, took the neatly stapled receipts. All the confirmation slips with Mama's signature was there. I placed the papers on top of the counter. It was a soft sound, but in the silence of the lobby, everyone heard it. Mama stared at the stack of receipts, and the smile on her lips slowly froze. I looked at her directly. "For 7 days, I invited you to talk privately twice. You were the one who chose to stand in the middle of our relatives and demand to hear the truth here." I placed my hand on the last page, where the total of $18,350 was clearly written, and I slowly fanned out the documents in front of everyone. I laid out the first page of the receipt. My voice was slow but clear enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. "Ma, the total cost for the 7 days is $18,350. How would you like to pay? Cash or bank transfer?" The smile on Mama's face instantly vanished. She looked at me, then at the numbers in front of her, as if she couldn't believe it. A few seconds later, she slammed her hand on the counter. "What you say?" I asked how you would like to pay. "You have the nerve to bill me in front of the whole family? I invited you to the office twice. You was the one who demanded we discuss it here." Her face turned red. She turned to the people around her. "You hear that? I invited relatives to my son's hotel, and here's my daughter-in-law, pulling out receipts and counting every penny. This family is so lucky to have a daughter-in-law who knows how to pinch pennies." Some people looked down. Uncle Beau frowned, while Auntie Rochelle quietly watched her sister. I fanned out the expense summary. The charge for 8 rooms for 7 nights was the largest. Next was the meals not included in the buffet, 4 bottles of imported wine, karaoke, transportation, extra guests, damaged items, and the broken lamp. Mama interjected. "The rooms was vacant, and the food was already in the restaurant. Where you get that ridiculous amount? A vacant room still has costs for electricity, water, laundry, and employee salaries. Them 8 rooms was blocked in the system for 7 nights, so they couldn't be booked by others. The food in the kitchen is bought. It don't just magically appear 'cause you said this is ours." She pointed at me. "Don't lecture me. I'm the mother of the owner of this hotel." After 7 days, I was too tired to be shaken by them words. That's right, you are Meech's mother, but you are not the owner of the hotel. She smirked. Not the owner? When we was startin' out, who gave the $20,000? Without my money, could you be standin' there? I reached under the counter and pulled out a folder I had prepared. I knew you would bring that up, so I brought the documents. I placed in front of her the copy of the purchase contract, the loan documents from the bank, the property title, and the signed note statin' she had received the $20,000 in full years ago. When Mama saw her signature, her expression changed. I pointed to the last line. This is your handwritin'. I have received the full loan amount. There are no remaining obligations. You read and sign this in front of Meech. She snatched the paper. You forced me to sign that. Meech stepped forward. Ma, no one forced you. I was the one who handed you the money and was right beside you when you wrote that. Mama turned to her son. You're ganging up with your wife to corner me? I'm just confirming the truth. The Indigo Pearl Hotel is owned by me and my wife. You have no share, you are not named on any documents, and you did not directly pay the bank loan. The entire lobby fell silent. Kiara spoke up. So, everything you told us, Auntie, was not true? Mama looked at Kiara. I just said it to make things easier to understand. My son's property is like it's mine too. Kiara shook her head. That ain't the same thing, Auntie. You were very clear. You said you was the investor and they was just named on the papers. 'Cause of that, we felt bold enough to stay here for a week. Auntie Rochelle came forward. Sis, why did you have to do that? Mama's voice was losing its tone. I just wanted to invite the family. What's wrong with a good intention? Her sister looked at her. A good intention uses one's own wealth. You used your children's hard work for your own self-interest. That ain't kindness. Mama's face stiffened. She turned to me. You happy now? You brought out the papers to make me look like a liar in front of the whole family. And you still call me Mama? I placed my hands on the counter to hide their trembling. I still call you Mama. And out of that respect, for 7 days, I did not speak ill of you in front of the relatives. I invited you to the office twice, but you refused. Her voice broke. You're a daughter-in-law, but you're billing your mother-in-law. If others hear about this, they'll laugh at us. I ain't afraid of being laughed at 'cause our family has principles. What I'm afraid of is my employees seeing that while they follow the rules, my own family is free to break 'em. Kiara bowed her head, her eyes red. I fanned out each receipt. This is your signature for the 4 bottles of wine. This is for the karaoke. This is for the bus. This is for the room change and extra guests. With every reminder from the staff, you said you would be responsible. She grabbed a paper. I signed 'cause I thought this was my son's hotel. How was I supposed to know they would bill me? Meech answered. Our family's money don't mean it's only your money, Ma. She turned to Meech, tears streaming down her face. 'Cause of your wife, I've lost all my dignity. Meech was silent for a moment. It ain't 'cause of my wife that you was embarrassed, Ma. The lie you started is what brought us here. Them words stopped her. In her eyes, I saw not just anger, but the fear of someone who had just discovered that the mask she had built was shattering in front of the very people she wanted to impress. But she still clung to the word, family. 18,350? What's that? If you're well off, just one trip for the relatives, is that such a big deal? You're just blowing this up to show your power. If I wanted to show my power, I wouldn't have let you stay for 7 days. Nor would I have prepared a way to reduce the payment. What I am protecting is the hard work of my husband and me, and our 28 employees. The crowd began to murmur. A few families slowly pulled their suitcases closer, as if they finally understood that the free trip was built on a lie. At that moment, Uncle Bo stepped out from the group. He looked at me, then at the receipt. Zora, I know my sister was wrong, but she's still the mother of the hotel owner. Bringing out a receipt in front of everyone, ain't that a bit much? Uncle Bo's question made the air heavy. I looked at the faces behind him. Some was ashamed, some avoided eye contact, and some nodded slightly. Uncle Bo continued, I ain't defendin' her lyin'. But in a family, if you have the means, it's probably not a bad thing to help relatives. Being so strict between a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, how will you face each other in the future? I took a deep breath. You have a point, Uncle. A family should help each other. That's why for 7 days, I didn't let anyone go hungry or sleep outside. But help is voluntary. Using a lie to exploit the labor of others is no longer help. Uncle Bo still didn't give up. But the hotel is this big. What's 26 people? Auntie Rochelle stepped forward. Bo, 1 meal is love. A week-long stay, order in wine, charter in a van, and invite other people? That's abuse. Let's not use the word relative to cover up what's wrong. Uncle Bo turned to his sister. You're too blunt. I'm tellin' the truth. We came here 'cause we thought Sis was the owner. If I knew it was Meech's, I would have booked it myself. What she did, she embarrassed all of us. Them words made a few faces turn red. Some families started talking among themselves. Mama, standin' in the middle, froze. I'm your sister, but you're sidin' with them? Auntie Rochelle looked at her sister. I'm speaking up 'cause I'm your sister. Strangers will laugh at you behind your back. Family should be frank. There ain't no shame in being poor, but there is shame in lyin'. A man in the group spoke up. But Zora should have said it more nicely. This is really embarrassin' for Auntie Lena. I turned to him. I invited her to the office twice. Meech did too. She was the one who requested we discuss it here. Meech confirmed this. That's right. We prepared for a private conversation, but my mother refused. Kiara stepped forward. Since I'm an accountant, may I see the details? I handed her the papers. She looked at the date, time, item, and signature one by one. All of these have Auntie Lena's signature. Maya spoke politely from behind the counter. Yes, every time there was wine, karaoke, a van, or a room change, I brought a receipt. She was the one who signed it and said she would be responsible. Mama turned to Maya. You're just an employee, don't meddle. The staff member bowed her head. Yes, I'm not meddlin', I'm just confirmin' my job. Though her voice was soft, everyone heard it. Kiara put down the papers. I don't see nothing wrong with what Miss Zora did. Everything is listed. If you signed it, Auntie, you can't say you didn't know. Mama snatched the papers. I signed 'cause I thought this was my son's. How was I supposed to know they would bill me? Auntie Rochelle answered. You was reminded, but you still signed. Did you think that, 'cause it was your son's money, you could use it however you wanted? Mama's voice broke. Kiara said, Our family used one room. You can just bill us for that. I shook my head. That ain't necessary. We have a general solution. Auntie Rochelle said, Whatever we used, we will pay for. We can't pass it on to the kids. Uncle Bo was still hesitant, but his wife pulled him. If we stayed, we pay. It's a big deal if they even give us a discount. He fell silent. I showed the summary. The total is $18,350. We are not billin' for the full amount. The room charges, after a discount, are $8,500. The $4,650 for meals and other things is on the house. The remaining $5,200 is for the wine, karaoke, van, extra guests, and damages. All of that was directly ordered or signed for by Mama, so she is responsible for it. Mama stared at me. You're billin' me $5,200? Yes, but I ain't forcing you to pay today. She laughed bitterly. What you want? For me to sell my house? Meech spoke up. No one is sellin' a house, Ma. You have your pension and savings. You can pay it in installments over 8 months, $650 per month. Mama turned to her son. You ain't gonna help me? If I pay that for you, you will never understand that promises come with responsibility. Mama stepped back, as if them words was more painful than the money. Auntie Rochelle looked at her. Sis, you should apologize to the kids and to the whole family. Mama clutched her bag. I did nothing wrong to apologize for. Kiara said sadly, You lied to us, Auntie. We was complacent 'cause we thought this was yours. Even now, you still don't see what you did wrong? Mama didn't answer. She turned her back on everyone, her eyes red but refusing to cry in front of so many people. One by one, the families paid. Some transferred the money immediately, others asked for a few days. I accepted it all without pressure. Uncle Bo was the last to pay. I still think this shouldn't have been blown up, but whatever my family used, I will pay for. I replied, Thank you, Uncle. I didn't want to blow it up either. I just didn't want to pretend nothing happened. As they loaded their luggage onto the bus, Mama came out without looking at me. She sat in the front and closed the curtain. "For getting on." Kiara turned, looked at her aunt in the window, and said, "I ain't sad 'cause we paid. I'm sad 'cause you thought we needed a free vacation more than we needed the truth." The bus door closed and it slowly pulled away. Mama was still sitting inside, not even turning around. I stood next to Meech, watching him leave. The $18,350 had been divided, but the biggest price Mama paid wasn't on any receipt. It was the look of disappointment from the very people she wanted to impress. After the bus left, Mama didn't call us. She locked her gate, refused the food Meech brought, and spread the word to the neighbors that I had embarrassed her in front of the entire family. Some people came to the restaurant to ask, and some looked at me as if I had kicked out my own mother-in-law. I didn't explain. Meech still visited Mama regularly. He bought her medicine, paid her electricity bill, and sent over food, but he never mentioned the $5,200 payment. One night, he told me, "I love my mother, but I can't be soft anymore," I replied. "Take care of her as a son, but the responsibility she signed for, she must take on." He nodded. After the incident, he never again used being family-oriented to force me to back down. 3 weeks later, Mama went to Colombia for an occasion. She thought the relatives would side with her, but at the dinner table, she heard their true feelings. Auntie Rochelle recounted how, after everything, Mama sat and complained about how she had invited everyone only to be met with humiliation from her daughter-in-law. Uncle Beau was silent. Auntie Rochelle put down her glass. "Sis, we ain't mad 'cause we paid. We're mad 'cause you lied," Mama made an excuse. "I just wanted you all to be happy. If you want to make others happy, you use your own money. You used your children's hard work for your own self-interest." Mama's voice broke. "You think I'm a bad person?" Auntie Rochelle shook her head. "I ain't ashamed that you're poor. I'm ashamed that you lied," Kiara added. "We don't need a hotel to respect you, Auntie. But you thought we would respect you more if everything was free." That's when Uncle Beau spoke up. "At the hotel, I still sided with you, but if someone brought 26 people to my house to eat and stay for a week, I probably couldn't handle it either." Mama said no more. She left the dinner and returned to Charleston that afternoon. Late at night, round 11, she passed by the Indigo Pearl. She saw the lights was still on. A group of guests had left early. 'Cause we were short-staffed, I was helping Imani fold towels and change sheets. Meech was kneeling under a sink, fixing a broken pipe. Chef Antoine was in the storeroom, checking supplies for the next day. They didn't know Mama was standing outside. She told us this herself later. She said that's when she finally understood that a clean room don't just appear on its own. A white towel passes through many hands, and a hot meal starts while others are still asleep. The empire she had boasted about was built on the nearly sleepless nights of her son, her daughter-in-law, and their employees. 4 days later, Mama walked into the hotel. This time she wasn't wearing a dress or accompanied by friends. She wore simple clothes and held an envelope. Imani stood up. "Good mornin', Mama Lena." Mama paused and replied softly, "Good mornin'. Is Zora here?" I came out of the office. We looked at each other. "Please come in and have something to drink." She shook her head. "No need. I just have something to say." She placed the envelope on the counter. "Here's $650 for the first month." I didn't open it to count. "Yes, Ma." She bowed her head. I thought 'cause my son was successful, I also had the right to brag. I forgot that I wasn't the one who stayed up all night to pay off debts. I wasn't the one who faced customers to apologize. I stayed silent to let her speak. I used your hard work for my own self-interest. When all of that was gone, I realized I was the one who was most embarrassed. Meech came back and heard everything. Mama turned to her son. "You don't need to pay this for me. I will pay for the 8 months." Meech came closer. "I ain't mad 'bout the money, Ma. I know. You're mad 'cause I didn't respect your wife." Meech didn't deny it. Mama looked at me. "I'm sorry. Not just for the receipt. I'm sorry for calling you an outsider, for saying you came with nothing, and for claiming the years of your hard work." I felt my throat go dry, but I said clearly, "I accept your apology. But from now on, if you bring anyone, you need to ask for permission. The family will still have a discount, but the rules must be the same for everyone." Mama nodded. "I understand." Meech turned to me. "I'm sorry too. I thought being family-oriented meant forcing you to endure it. The truth is, I was just avoiding responsibility and putting you in the line of fire." I looked at my husband. "I accept. But this boundary, it must remain, not just temporarily," he replied. "I promise." 2 months later, Mama brought an old friend to the restaurant. They sat down, ordered just enough, and she asked Imani, "How much is everything, dear?" The friend laughed. "You're the owner. Why you payin'?" Mama looked at me, standing at the counter, and corrected her clearly. "I ain't the owner of this hotel. I'm just the owner's mother. This place belongs to my son and my daughter-in-law. They built it with their own sweat and blood, not mine." When I heard that, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Money can be paid back, but a rightful admission, sometimes, can restore the entire dignity that was stolen from a person. Children should be respectful, but parents also need to respect the family, property, and efforts of their children. Tolerance without boundaries becomes abuse. And love without principles, sometimes, becomes the very reason our loved ones lose their way.